So CLIP is Communities Learning in Partnership, and we are in our, I guess, probably second year of the project. For the first year, we were in a planning phase with 7 cities, working together with K-12 leaders, community college leaders, other higher ed partners, workforce, business, and other community leaders to work together to try to address post-secondary and the goal of doubling the percent of low-income young adults with a degree or credential that has labor market values. So these 7 communities really created an action plan to try to look at how they could build commitment amongst key stakeholders, use data to really drive change and decision making, to really develop a sustainable partnership, and to implement policies and practices that could change post-secondary outcomes. At the end of their planning phase, 4 of those sites were selected for implementation. That started last fall. So as we come into this summer, those 4 sites are sort of reflecting on year 1, what worked, what didn't, and maybe retweaking where they want their plan to go in year 2 and 3. And with those 4 cities, we've kept our planning grantees, and then also brought in 4 other cities that are really doing these types of multi-sector partnership to create a peer learning network. So there are 11 cities involved. We have our 4 implementation sites, our 3 planning sites, and these other 4 affiliated cities. And to really, those sites learn from each other about what's working, what's not, sharing strategies, joint problem solving, and really trying to catalyze the work. And the whole goal behind Communities Learning Partnership is that by doing this work together and breaking down these silos, the outcomes will be better than if one institution took it on its own.
How have the 11 cities now, how are they learning from each other? What are some examples of something worked in Mesa and maybe it'll work in Portland or vice versa? I mean, how are they sharing those things?
So for one example is Louisville is one of our affiliated cities. We do cross-site convenings twice a year, and last fall we were in Louisville. And Louisville's done a great job of engaging businesses and having workforce at the table. And so that was an opportunity to really look at how they're doing that work, the way in which they're presenting some of the data, and I think a lot of sites left Louisville with some ideas to share. Another example, we were just in San Francisco for a cross-site convening, and it was learning about some of the different work that San Francisco has that's going on. Another real key thing when we're in these different sites is to hear from the mayors and the chancellors and the superintendents. And San Francisco was a great example of those 3 leaders came together and talked to the whole group at lunch, and to hear them be on message and really behind post-secondary success agenda is meaningful, and I think it sparks all the sites to go back and make sure that their leaders are able to be powerful spokesmen in the same way.
I know it's early in the work, but where could you imagine some of the new involvement with business and community partnerships could impact the triumvirate? Where will some of this go when there's new involvement?
Well, I think what we're really hopeful for is that whatever involvement develops is sustainable. And so while there's goals of where some of these partnerships are in 1 year and 2 years, it's also where they could be in 10 years if they're able to sustain. And a key thing for, I think, a lot of the cities is just like 5 years ago, most places were on a college access agenda, and now they're really addressing college success and completion. It's helping some of the community-based organizations rethink maybe where some of their missions are. There's many more community-based organizations supporting maybe on that college access side. And so it's really helping to identify ways in which they can support and be part of the plan to support retention and success services.
And what about business? Is there, say, course redesign around business goals?
An interesting idea, and this is just in its nugget phase, but I think a really powerful example of how bringing some people together and have them think big and have them think of what are some different ways to engage businesses is the idea of sort of having a seal of approval for businesses that are supporting post-secondary success, ways in which they're supporting student learners, whether it be, what exactly those criteria are. They don't quite know yet, because it's very much in sort of the, what if we wanted to think about this phase? But the ideas of, we talk about having employers support students with scheduling, having employers support students through, time, release time, or through tuition reimbursements, or some sort of matching or something, or just providing on-the-job experiences tied to whatever training they're doing. And the idea of, okay, let's recognize businesses for taking that on and doing something powerful. So I think one of the big things right now is looking at measuring a lot of various interim benchmarks, and not, say, individual partnerships, at least at this point. And a lot of sites are doing great jobs with looking at internal and external metrics that they're going to use to, A, guide their work internally, but also communicate their progress externally for broader stakeholders, and then also for the community at large. And I think that's where a lot of the data work is going right now. When some of the sites launched last fall, San Francisco has something they call Bridge to Success, and they have 8 steps along that bridge, and that's really sort of communicating where they want to see progress along their way. Others have different sort of dashboards and metrics in which they're communicating the work that they're doing.
Well, around communicating and outreach to the community, there probably is an effort, and part of your theory of action around college-going mindset. What does it mean to speak to the community about being college-going and college-ready? How is that part of your initiative? How are the cities working on that?
Each site has sort of a different plan, either a communication or culture change strategy. They're each focusing on branding, and each have identified sort of a name and are creating that brand. San Francisco's is San Francisco Bridge to Success. Riverside, completion counts. Mesa counts on college, NYC graduate, and then for our affiliated cities, Degree Phoenix, Success Boston, Louisville is 55,000 degrees. And so each of them have created this brand and trying to communicate what their goals are to the larger community.
And they're so different. How could something like New York, that has millions, then have something that might transfer to some of the smaller or more rural areas?
They all are different, but everyone does have something to add and learn from. And so as we hear one story in our peer network, we really try to think about the context in which that operated, so that then how do we transfer that to some of the other sites. And while they're all different, everyone can learn from someone. And I should also add that we're part of a larger community portfolio within the Gates post-secondary strategy. And so we have, I call it our sister project, which is Partners for Post-Secondary Success. And they have 2 sites in Texas and 2 sites in North Carolina that operate under a similar theory of change. And so we're also, talking about ways in which those sites can continue to learn and connect with the CLIP sites.
Really hearing from students. I know when we were at the last CLIP site meeting, students were, in their perspective, were an important part of forming a notion of what it's like to be in college right now, to be in community college. How are the schools and the sites using either student data or student stories differently to inform what they do?
A lot of them are embedding student feedback through focus groups and trying to get at it that way. I know one of our sites just got some focus group data back related to counseling, and the story isn't particularly pretty about the success rate of some of their counseling practices. But in that regard, it's important to look at that and be guided by that, and also that individual feedback is also sort of hashed out in the general research. A lot of other research on around counseling sort of bears a similar story, but it's important for them to know locally, this is our situation and how we can address it. But that's a way to really hear from the students themselves about what they're getting from the services that are being provided.
And some of them, maybe Riverside, are involved in a longer-term research project around student stories.
Yeah.
How can you imagine that research being applied after there's that many 900 analyzed stories of what it's really like to be in community college? How do you think that might inform what the colleges do?
I think hopefully not only for Riverside because it's those students, but I think that will really tease out lessons learned for not only other sites in California, but even the larger network. And it's always important to sort of go and look at what you're hearing from those sources to reaffirm and redirect what you're doing. So they'll definitely be keeping their eyes on it as it comes out over the next sort of year and a half.
Great. Well, we'll be watching the cities, and good luck with bringing out the results. We're really excited to see more.
Thanks.
Thank you.